I'll have you roll over onto your side. And this is where you may or may not want your extra blanket. And I'll show you why. So if you're laying on your side with your arms in front of you, if you can have your head on the floor, this will be a good thing for stretching your neck gently. But you know, there are many people who don't feel comfortable like this. And that is when you would want to bring in your blanket. You can use it for a little lift or for a complete lift with your head completely in line with your spine. But don't lift your head higher than the point where your neck is in line with your spine, okay? So whatever neck position you have, now we're ready to enter into a stretch. You're going, if you're lying on your right side, like I am, you're going to take your left hand and put it on the floor next to your knees. Your knees are pulled up. Your hips are at a 90-degree angle to your body. And you're putting your fingertips on the floor next to your knees. So here you can feel a stretch, a very gentle stretch from your neck down to your shoulder. And as you lie here, focus on allowing your breath to be soft. And focus on comfort. Please move your body, adjust as you need to increase your level of comfort. Breathing through your nose, the breath comes in all the way down into the belly and slowly leaves your body also through the nose. No need to try to make a really deep breath here. Just a soft, easy breath that happens naturally, almost completely on its own. Good. Now, we're going to change positions slightly, only slightly. You're going to turn your head down with your forehead on the floor and your chin slightly tucked. And you're going to roll a little bit forward so that the hand that's by your knees is going to extend a little bit further out beyond the knees. And now you can feel the stretch in a different part of your neck, slightly to the back of your neck. We'll hold here for 30 seconds. Good. Now that we've been here for 30 seconds, we're going to introduce a movement to this pose. Come back up to the neutral position, lying on your side, so we're no longer rolled forward here. And place your hand, your left hand, on the floor by your knees once more. Inhale, trace your fingertips along the floor, making an arch around your body. Now you breathe freely here. No particular assignment of where the breath should happen. Just breathe naturally. And there will come a point where your fingers can no longer reach the floor. That's when you bend your elbow and put your hand on your shoulder and continue tracing that arch with your elbow instead of your hand. And you're going to point your elbow down to your hip. And then you're going to go back the way you came, reverse the motion. And as soon as it feels like your fingers are going to be able to touch the floor, you can extend your elbow again, touch the floor, and bring your fingers around and down towards your knee again. Very good. Let's do that 2 more times. The arm comes up. If you're extremely mobile, you might be able to touch the floor all the way around. It's certainly the exception rather than the rule. And all the way back again. So as you're making this big arch, you'll notice that you're taking your shoulder through a really large range of motion here. And you'll also notice stretching happening. We're going to do this one more time. Stretching will be happening in all kinds of places, including your chest. Let's really work that stretch in the chest. Good. So when you're doing this, it's important not to crank your low back into a big twist. And I'll demonstrate to you what I mean about that when we do this on the next side. Okay, so we're going to rest here in this position with the left hand down on the floor by the knees. And then we'll move over onto the back. Before we do the other side, let's come back to center. I'd like to invite you to pause just for one breath and notice the difference between the right and left sides, and notice any other sensations you might be feeling, including differences in your body between the time we began and now. Okay, so, and then pull your knees in towards your chest gently. And we'll flip over onto the other side, onto the left side. So I'll be moving my body around on my mat so I can still be facing you, but you don't really need to do that unless you really want to look at the screen. So again, head support is optional here. You may find that you want it. You may find that you don't need it. It's completely up to you. Hips are at a 90-degree angle. Knees are sort of high, about directly out from the hips. Place your right hand on the floor next to your knees and rest your head on the floor or on your support, stretching out your neck. You might notice that one side of your neck was tighter than the other. That's normal too. So I'm going to count to 30 silently in my head while we rest here. And I'd like to invite you to breathe easily while we're here and just enjoy this very gentle stretch for your neck. Okay. Now we're going to change position slightly. I'm going to have you turn your head down, forehead on the floor, and lean forward slightly. And reach your arm out past your knees as far as you can comfortably and rest your palm on the floor. Feel the coolness of the floor on your palm. And I'll count to 30 here as well. Okay. Now we're going to shift into our arches that we're going to trace on the floor. So we start in the neutral position. The hips are stacked on top of each other. The shoulders are stacked. Hand is down by the knees. And we're going to trace a big arch around the body on the floor. So here's what I mean about that twist that I mentioned. If you lean back into a twist, you want that twist to be happening in your upper back. So we're not collapsing backwards and putting a lot of strain and pressure on the low back, right? This is an upper body twist, and it's a movement to loosen up the rib cage and the neck and shoulders. So we'll do our twist 2 more times here. Remember, you can bend your elbow and put your hand on your shoulder to reduce the amount of pressure on your shoulder joint. And that's really useful if this is uncomfortable for you for any reason. And of course, we're moving very slowly, methodically, meditatively. Rest your hand on the floor by the knees one last time. One last neck stretch here. And then come onto your back. We'll pull the knees in towards the chest again, allowing the body to center itself. Good. So let's roll over onto your side, and then after a brief pause, we'll come onto all fours.